Hey, Nick.
Oh, yes, it's fine. See you.
Yeah.
You ready, Ally?
Yes.
All right. I call to order the counties of Washington, Warren and Washington Industrial Development Agency meeting on April 21st, 2025 at 4 p.m. Ally, roll call, please.
Jenny Sullivan.
Here.
Jim Nolan.
Here.
Trisha Rogers.
Here.
John Taplin.
Here.
Tim Robinson.
Here.
Pam Bruno.
Here.
Juan Gonzalez.
Here.
We have a quorum. We have 7 out of 9.
Okay, great. Everybody received in the read ahead package the minutes for the March 17th IDA board meeting, as well as the April 2nd special meeting. I would entertain a motion to accept those. Jim, second. Tim, any discussions or corrections or omissions? All right, motion carries. Moving on, pass it over to the treasurer.
Sure. You have in front of you the accounts payable for the month that total 72,838.44. We did have 2 additional checks to add to this report. We'd like to make note that they were added. One to RU Homes About Homes, February and March services of $1,089, and Lobella $15,514. Happy to answer any questions on the payments.
No questions, but if I may, since we're here, the first quarter HUD reimbursable was submitted yesterday. It was 28,850, so we should be seeing that over the next 2 weeks. Okay. All right, well, we'll stay with payables, and I'll entertain a motion to accept the payables. Jim, second. John, roll call vote. Ally?
Jenny Sullivan.
Yes.
Jim Nolan.
Yes.
Trisha Rogers.
Yes.
John Taplin.
Yes.
Tim Robinson.
Yes.
Pam Bruno.
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great.
All right, the financial statements you have in your package, I'm not going to go over. Those are the March 25 and March 24 year-to-date balance sheet. The reason I'm not going over them because we have adjusting entries to make, and I'll get into that in a moment for the down below in the new business, when we look to approve the audited financial statements, I'll have some comments to make about that. But they need to be adjusted, and once adjusted, they will be rolling forward for, let's see, I guess I asked you about May, but would it be April? That's adjusted?
Yes.
We will have time to adjust April and present it to, yes. So
Correct.
going forward, our financial statements will account for accounting adjustments the auditors made, and I'll bring that up when we go over the audited financial statement. Lastly is the transfer of money to the money market. We're looking to transfer $100,000 to our money market to earn some additional interest. So I guess we need to.
Sure. So let me, 2 items real quick. Those adjusting entries are not with our cash. If you do look at our cash, that is very accurate. We are at 2.4 million in cash, which is a plus up of 347,000. As we continue to grow the checking account, our plan is to continue moving it into the money market. If you look at the year-over-year portion of that on page, real quick, page 13, you can see it's a 12% less just in the interest earnings. And hence we've made $100,000 transfer. We're going to make another, or entertain a motion to make a second here in a minute. And we'll continue to bump that up to make up for that 12% loss year over year. But again, that's only one portion of our revenue. If you go down further, you'll see a 303% increase for our charges on page 13. And then overall, we have 191% increase of total income. So doing extremely well. We're just making adjustments as the world changes for us. So two things I would, so two motions first. First, I would entertain a motion to, accept the year-to-date financials unaudited. Jim, second. Tricia, roll call vote, Ally?
Jenny Sullivan,
Yes.
Jim Nolan,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers,
Yes.
John Chaplin,
Yes.
Tim Robinson.
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
So the second of three motions here, I would entertain a motion to, allow Ally to move $100,000 from the checking account around page 11 to the money market account. That 437,000, we'll still have plenty of cash for cash. Jim, second. Tim. Roll call vote, Ally, on this one?
Jenny Sullivan.
Yes.
Jim Nolan,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers.
Yes.
John Chaplin,
Yes.
Tim Robinson.
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion carried. Great. Our third motion on this is an opportunity for those that were on the board of a year and a half years ago, we allowed these to pay bills and then bring reimbursable bills and then bring them to the board afterwards. That way we did not hold up reimbursements since all of our grants are in arrears. So what we would like to do is authorize the staff to make a transfer between the money market and operating account. We are coming up on the end of engineering and potentially the start of construction for at least one of our water or wastewater projects. And so we're gonna have to have cash flow moving in and out for the grants. So I'll read it as Kara has wrote it for us. So I would entertain a motion to authorize the IDA staff to make transfers between the money market account and the operating account upon the receipt of written direction of the chair or treasurer as to the amount and timing of the transfer. Said transfer shall be reported on at the next monthly meeting of the IDA. So I entertain a motion to accept that.
Can I have a question?
Yes.
Why are we moving on to the money market? If we're giving permission to transfer. I mean, even a few days into sign that.
Right.
We're just hoping to capture as much interest.
Capture as much interest as we can, but also open it up to where if we get large construction bills, we can come back to both ways.
By you
Or
or
you,
me.
yes, written approval, which is an email saying that you and I approve, or would you like both?
I think we should have two.
Two people? Okay, so for the chair and treasurer. Okay,
One, is there a predetermined limit on those?
No.
Dollar limit?
no, for the checking account, there is not, we just know that we need, at least 250,000 for our cash flow normally, and then we don't have any restrictions on pulling out the money market if we need to, should the grants become an issue once we start into construction.
We'll have control by you and I.
Yes.
Knowing the amounts.
And once we get into construction, we'll also revisit the line of credit, the $2 million line of credit that we have researched as well. So we have many options here in how to pay for the grants and then get reimbursed. Short, and again, using your money is great, but if you're making good money on your money, you want to use the bank's money sometimes because that's going to be, you're going to pay interest, but you're making interest on the back end. So we're going to play that game, and this is what I do for a living, and Tim and Jenny. So we've got plenty of folks that are experts at this, and we're going to use the most amount of money without the least amount of interest is basically the game here that we want to play.
You know, cut our interest rate.
That's well put.
Yeah,
So,
right. Any other questions? So I will read the motion one more time with that one change. I will entertain a motion to authorize the ID staff to make transfers between the money market account and the operating account upon the receipt of written direction of the chair and treasurer as to the amount and timing of the transfer. Said transfer shall be reported on at the next monthly meeting of the IDA. John, second. Jim, roll call vote. Alex?
Jenny Sullivan,
Yes.
Jim Nolan,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers.
Yes.
John Chaplin,
Yes.
Tim Robinson.
yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion passes. Great. Do we have anything for the treasurer before we move on to the next section? All right, making great time. I am gonna turn it over to Chuck. We will start with number 4, the Adirondack Radiology.
Or do you want to, okay, well,
Do you want to go with different, do you want to start with, who do you want to start with?
let's start with native development if we could.
Okay, let's start with native development.
Do we have Tim Barber online by chance? Is
No.
he- Okay, let's start with Adirondack REI.
So
I'm
what's the
sorry.
change?
I go with the flow. Okay, so as a reminder, we had a special meeting to begin this month for the acceptance of an application from ADK REI for about a $3 million housing project located on 18 Luzerne Road. With us is Nick LeBeouf. He and his wife are running the project. Right after the board meeting, we sent a notice to Queensbury about the project, and the town supervisor had some questions about the project. So as you can see in the memo that I wrote on April 16th, we had a meeting with him and the Ward 4 town board member, Nick McNulty, and with the town assessor, Terry Ross, to discuss the project. The meeting went very well. Nick and Kara did a very nice job explaining the project. Again, they currently have 8 two-bedroom units, and they're looking to add 16 two-bedroom units. The Queensbury officials were impressed with their entrepreneurial spirit in the housing project itself. However, Supervisor Strauss asked if the housing project was truly workforce, and we offered to brainstorm a simple workforce housing criterion. Supervisor Strauss was appreciative of the offer, indicated he could support the project if there was some sort of workforce commitment. So that afternoon, we did some brainstorming. We've come up with a fairly simple way of making sure the rental rate is within workforce reach. The proposed criteria is for the workforce rent to not exceed the HUD annual fair market rent for 2 bedrooms in Glens Falls MSA by 120%. And if you do the math on the current numbers, that would, for example, in this year, put a maximum rent of $1,622. And that's base rent that's excluding any special fees. We feel as if this would be an easy metric to both calculate and to monitor, because as Kara will explain to you, we will have the responsibility for monitoring that. And Kara has added that we could give the applicant an annual affidavit confirming all rental rates and have the ability to look at the leases if necessary. So hence, this is now our proposal for board questions and discussion. Yes, sir.
So that's interesting, but does that become the new low price or is that
That's
the maximum? So there,
That's the
if
max
they
for
come
the
in
year.
before that.
And it changes every year, as you know, they update it. The base from HUD was 1,352 in 2025, but it's only 1,284 the year before. So it will change based upon all the factors they use to calculate this number.
Okay.
And Nick, thank you for coming. Nick offered to come. Any comments on the meeting or this criterion we're proposing?
I don't think so. I think it seems like a attainable figure for us and something to kind of have like a guideline or a maximum of where it could be. We're not opposed to it at all.
When did those HUD rates come out?
Typically May. I'm sorry, March, because this one just came out.
So that just a little bit adjustment on your part when you can change the rates for the following year. You can't do it in January because you don't have rates in the same March
Yeah.
or March.
I don't think we're gonna have it depending on the leases don't go from January.
Right.
So when people move in, update as.
And how long the project is for construction?
So we're at like 8 months, then a couple months of lease up, so probably about a 12-month project.
We're already into 2026. So it could be based on 2026 March.
Correct. Yeah. So we just would like board concurrence for us to go forward with this. We'll put it in the public hearing finding statement, and then we'll put it for our approval at the next board meeting for final approval. So if this board is okay, we have not communicated this officially at Queensbury, so if the board approves this, I'll send an email to Supervisor Stroud tonight or tomorrow. We'll move it.
Is there a motion I need to entertain, Kara?
I don't think you need to
I
do
think
you don't need to do a formal approval, as long as there's consensus at the board level to move forward with it, then we'll write that into documents, put it into the notices that we'll send out, and it'll be in our final approval.
Any concerns from the board before we move to the next topic?
I just have a question, did you back out the,
I don't think we have a date,
okay,
but as soon as we.
okay.
Great.
Okay, all right,
Without
thank
any
you.
concerns,
We'll move forward back with the proposed public hearing date and with the proposed date for board approval. Thank you, Nick.
Say if you want, it's boring stuff.
Okay, so now let's go to native development. We have with us Peter Barber, the brother of Nick Barber. I'll ask you, Peter, if you don't mind going to the podium.
Oh, sure.
Tim was trying, there he is. Yeah, and Tim Barber, one of the principals of the LLC, is online. Good afternoon, Tim.
How is everybody?
We're doing well, thank you. We're doing well.
Great, thank you.
So, Peter, if you don't mind, maybe you can just sort of explain the project, talk about the need for the incentives, and I'll talk about specifically what the incentives are and what the proposed incentives will do for our local community.
Sure. Native Development took over the old Native Textiles facility there. It was originally 112,000 square feet. That was been vacant since 2006. 2017, Native Development took the facility, filled it 100%. Many improvements, many local jobs. And now we're looking at a 40,000 square foot, basically addition, which will round out the site and really finish it up well. We get a lot of inquiries for space, and really until we have the car on the lot, we can't sell it. And this would be a phenomenal addition to the park, along with the last building we just did, 25,000 square foot. So we're looking to fill that, and for that this 40,000 square foot facility to bring it's a 3 dozen plus new jobs. I say plus, it's a big facility, so it'll be a very nice addition to the area. So that's sort of where we are.
And there's some recent good news. You have a letter of intent?
We do. Yeah, we're very excited to say we have a letter of intent from a local manufacturer. So it's really a really nice compliment to the park, and it's all in the works now. So.
And we're not talking about who the proposed tenant is, but I will say it's a reputable local business that's looking to expand.
Yeah,
That's correct.
Happy to be here in front of all of you too. So thank you.
Is that business located within Warren or Washington County?
Within Warren County. Yeah, actually fairly close to the site. So the project, Peter, is a $3.7 million project, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, and proposed construction will start fairly soon. You have planning board approval?
I would defer to Tim on that. I believe we do. But yeah, construction will start right away.
Okay. So let me explain the incentives and the community benefit, and then we can open for questions. The proposals have 3 different incentives for the 40,000 square foot addition. Property tax incentives will be in form of pilots. Under our uniform tax exempt policy, the pilots will be made 10-year term, 100% exemption of real property taxes on the value improvements for years 1 through 5. and a 50% exemption of real property taxes from the value improvements for years 6 through 10 after construction is completed. This totals an estimated $153,311 in payments over 10 years versus an estimated $613,246 without the investment incentive. The estimated property tax benefit is $459,934 over 10 years. The second proposed incentive is sales tax abatement, 7% based upon $2.176 million. The estimated benefit is $152,362. The third proposed incentive is mortgage tax abatement of 1% from an estimated mortgage loan of $3.751 million. The estimated mortgage tax benefit, $37,510. The gross incentives would be $649,806 before fees. IDA administrative fees would be $33,759 for servicing incentives throughout the 10-year period. And the estimated legal fee is $15,000. The estimated total net investment incentive is $601,047. As far as the benefits to the community, over 10 years, the following will occur. Support and encourage the local manufacturing warehouse industries, generate an estimated 35 to 45 local construction jobs valued at roughly $1.4 million, generate construction material sales with an estimated value of about $2.2 million, with 60% sourced in the counties and within New York State, create an estimated 30 full-time equivalent employment positions with an estimated total wages and benefits of 19, actually rounding to $20 million, again, over the 20 years. Generate pilot payments estimated over $153,000, generate a community cost benefit ratio estimated 1 to 35, and the community net benefit value and net present value would be, well, I'm sorry, in a non-present value would be 22 million, but in a net present value of 4% would be 17 million. Clearly beneficial to the local. So with that, we'll open it for any questions.
Okay,
So the pilots are all okay and everything. We have informed the town of Queensbury, and we have a meeting set up. We could not get it before this meeting, so we do have a meeting with the town of Queensbury. They traditionally have been very receptive to manufacturing-based incentives. School district too. Thank you.
Tim.
Peter, on the letter of intent, I know you can't share the details of the lease, or who the tenant is, but, you know, to create jobs, this is supposed to be a job creation thing. Moving them from one area of the county to another is not typically what these benefits are for, unless they were going to leave the area.
This is an expansion.
Okay,
They're going to add the jobs and keep the jobs where they currently are.
it's an expansion to an existing manufacturer in Warren County, new jobs being. Great. That answers my-
Chuck, can I add a little to that?
Please.
That the particular manufacturer we're talking about, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, are they have 2 other locations in different states, and for the last probably 18 months, I've worked with them. Our team has worked with them to keep some of the divisions that they're going to use this building for here in Queensbury. It was very close to going to a neighboring state, but the cohesiveness of the company that in the workforce that they have locally, they're actually going to bring and enhance this division and take some personnel from their neighboring state and bring it here to Queensbury instead of taking it and taking some of this division and shuffling over to the neighboring state. So it was these incentives and this addition was a big turning point for the CEO to make the decision to keep this whole division rolling here and not kind of cut it in half by 2 and strengthening the out-of-state division.
So if I could add to that, in a sense, what Tim and Steve and others have done is taken our incentives and pass it along to recruit this company to do more in our area.
Were you able to reduce it by $1.50 a square foot? Is that approximate?
Yeah, that's.
Yes.
Okay, great.
total number of jobs again?
30.
30. We have room to house them.
We will after certain housing.
Well, we
That's
we have a
right.
housing project, we got a manufacturing project, go with a team.
All right, let's go around the room. Any other question?
Just a reminder, this is simply for acceptance, and if accepted, then we'll find a date for public hearing and bring it back to the board for final approval.
All right, since no further questions, give me a minute to read the resolution. I will entertain a resolution accepting an application for financial assistance submitted by Native Development Associates LLC, the company, relating to a 40,000 square foot addition, authorizing a public hearing with respect to the project, and describing the financial assistance being contemplated by the agency with respect to the project. Jim, second. Dan?
Yep.
Roll call vote, Ally, please.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Ginny Sullivan. Staying. Jim Nolan,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers,
Yes.
John Taplin,
Yes.
Tim Robinson,
Yes.
Ann Bruno,
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen.
Thank you,
First,
Peter.
first good step.
Thank you,
We'll
Tim.
see you again.
Thank you, board. Thank you very much.
No,
Thank you.
talking to you.
Yes, nice talking to you too. Enjoy the rest of the day.
All right, Chuck.
Keep
one more.
rolling.
One more.
Okay, our third guest, Mr. Washburn from BHB Management, also known as Hilltop Construction. As you are all aware, in Airport Industrial Park Phase 2, they recently bought about a 3-acre lot. And they've decided they want to buy the other two neighboring actually 2.7 acre lots. For those that may recall this map, it's these two lots right here that are right along Ferguson Lane. And as you know, we have had an appraisal for those lots. Those are heavily impacted by wetlands. The appraised value was $1,000 a piece. With that, BHB Management put an application to purchase the two lots. And with that, I'll turn it to Dan. You can explain what's happening.
Yeah, so basically, we understand that they're severely impacted by wetlands. Being that they're right next to the lot that, we recently purchased, we figured it would be a good time to grab them. Currently, we're in talks with an architect engineer to design the building, much bigger building than we originally had, were approved for. And so with doing that, we figured it would help with maybe some parking and stuff with the first part of the lot. The second lot 31, I think, which is right next to it. So it would just give us a little more access to our existing lot. I know that it said storage. We're not looking to do storage specifically. It's more, first we have to get DC approval to access the back side of the lot. Currently, it was delineated for that, but once we start working with that, it'll be more of a laydown lot, for construction equipment, stuff like that. Not any outdoor storage like boat storage or anything like that.
Questions, Dan?
Yeah, we have set of criteria, I think, don't we, regarding storage? In other words, outdoor storage.
Yes, there's language in the covenants that say that there can be no outdoor storage except if the board determines that it's reasonable with the other uses in the industrial park. So since the town has amended its zoning to allow for storage, we have granted variances to other applicants in the park for the storage because our covenants don't match up with the zoning now.
But if you did intend to store various things out there, you need board approval, correct? In other words, boats, cars, whatever.
Yeah, well, the resolution I prepared, it does have an acceptance of the variance because their application indicated that there would be some storage possibly on the property. So, I mean, if you don't think you need that, I mean, we could revisit it, but we approved it last time with their last purchase with the variance.
So this is everything we're approving now, post approved, it's the same as we did for the other lot.
Yes.
And it solves a lot of problems down the road too, by doing it this way. How about the building you said is gonna get bigger? Is that gotta come back to us too?
It's gonna what?
You said it's gonna be a lot bigger. Does that have to come back to us too?
Doesn't have, does it?
No, that's on the lot you already own.
That's on the lot that we already own, correct?
Right, but does that have to come back?
No,
It's gonna cost more. Are we gonna give more?
they didn't apply for.
Okay.
We just don't sell them.
Okay.
Just
Just wanted to make sure
the
that we
lot purchase, yeah.
crossed all our T's. I don't know, our eyes.
And then the read-ahead package was both the resolution and the contract for purchase and sale of real estate. Any questions on those? Any questions for Dan? All right, I will entertain a motion to accept the resolution of the counties of Warren and Washington Industrial Development Agency approving and authorizing sale of property. Second, Jen. First is Brian. Roll call vote, Ally?
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan. Yes. Jim Nolan,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers.
Yes.
John Toppland,
Yes.
Tim Robinson,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you guys very much for your time, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
I will run because I have a town board meeting. Lucky me.
We're not offended.
Thank you guys.
Good luck, Dan.
We're saving Adirondack radiology till new business, correct? All right. With that, we will move on to the reports of committees. Park Chair, please.
No, it's studying. Well, really nothing new to report. Most of it, most of the stuff will be explained further down the agenda. I mean, the project updates, maintenance updates, tenant activity. I go out there at least once a week, check things out. Everything looks good. And I also go over the airport. So in both cases, so far so good, and I really have nothing really good.
Great. I'll turn it over to Chuck to run with the rest of those.
Okay, just, we talked about this in the past meeting, but just as a reminder, the water district formation is underway. We did hit a milestone since the last meeting where the town board, Fort Edward Town Board, passed a resolution accepting the agreement with the water district in the village of Fort Edward. Secondly, Labella and the village are focusing on the water source point. As you know, we pull water off B Street. There is concern that it's an old line and that they have to be further refurbished. There's now an idea to run the line further to connect to a better portion of the existing water system. So it's under engineering review, more to come on that. Then on the on-site sewage treatment, the Bella and DEC are evaluating the discharge criteria, and hopefully we'll get a ruling from DEC soon. So they'll tell us what we can and cannot do, and then we can design accordingly. Again, more to come on that. And finally, we do have some positive news from National Grid. The current entity looking at the site has asked for natural gas at 64,000 cubic feet per day. And we've talked with the Economic Development Group of National Grid and asked them to look at their capability to meet that demand. Got an email last week and they said, yes, we can meet that demand. We need a year and $100,000, which is okay within the scope of what this prospective buyer needs. So that information has been passed along to the prospective buyer. So that actually is very good news for us. Another thing we take off the checklist as far as what the site can do.
one caveat there. Depending upon the pressure, they can furnish the volume of the respective.
Yeah,
We may need to install
We,
pressure boosting.
you're 100% right. I should have mentioned, we not only know the amount of gas, but the pressure is a 28 PSI. And they said exactly that, but they had to put some pumps in. That's why there's a little bit of a capital cost of $100,000.
So that was already included and they know that. We're good.
Well, we told them we didn't have a hookup, but they asked us if we could, and then we offered to find out more about how to do the hookup. So now we're just passing information that they'll have to do diligence in deciding.
But National Grid actually had that information in advance, so.
Right.
That's good.
So that's it on the canal side projects. On maintenance, we have two updates. One is, you might recall, we have a lot of brush that Everett has cut down. We decided to do a quick RFP to get 3 companies to bid on pulling the brush out, grinding it and hauling it away. Only one responded with a bid, and that was Grasshopper Gardens for $7,200. So I do need board approval to go ahead and award that contract for a company to come in and remove those brush piles. To be specific, there's about 30 piles. So it's actually quite a substantial amount of work.
So, and we're within our procurement policy by going out to 3 and with 1 coming back. So we're check the block there. So I will entertain a motion to accept the Grasshopper quote for the RFP. Kim, second, Dan. Roll call vote, Ally? 1 second. All right.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Ginny Sullivan. Yes. Jim Nolan,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers. Yes. John Taplin.
Yep.
Tim Robinson.
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
I'm ready.
Yeah,
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
I love people who put the team first. I love it. Great. All right, continue, Chuck.
So continuing as far as tenant activity, we did have an issue this past week when Kiewit went to withdraw water to fill their water trucks. It caused a browning of the water for the residents on East Street. They, of course, were not too happy. This actually happened 2 weeks ago, and we asked Kiewit to call us when they were going to pull water. What they did is they pulled water differently. They tried to do it slowly, but it still disrupted the system. Good news is both Kiewit and the village water district have figured out a different point for them to fill their tanks. They actually are now going to the village water system right on site. Kiewit's going to pull water from there instead of pulling water from our site. So it's a nice amicable solution and keeps the residents happy. But it does highlight the need that when we do our water distribution system, this is an issue that needs to be taken care of earlier when I was talking about East Street. But the good news is Kiewit's happy, the village water district's happy, the residents are happy. That's it for anything with canal side, unless there are any questions.
Yes, 2 items. For the bridge update, we did get the DOT letter back today saying that there is no adverse effect on resources eligible for listing or listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The requirements of 36 CFR Part 800 have been met for this project. The Section 106 process is complete, and this is the last piece that the team needed to submit the final design report for review and design approval. So that bridge project, 2026 bridge project, is moving along nicely. And you want to update the team on the fast funding, what you learned on the reimbursable?
Yes, thank you for the reminder. You might recall that we were told any Fast New York funding that went into a project that then was turned over to private ownership, we'd have to reimburse that monies. But further discussion with the SD, where we do not need to do reimbursement. If it's for a business growth endeavor, the funding for something that goes to private is acceptable from the SD. So that just makes things a little less complex for us. What we would do if we were to sell the site, have Fast New York funding, where some of the funding, for example, with the water district, for example, will stay public because of the need towards the water system. the village for Edward Water District will own that system. But if we did an on-site treatment, we would actually sell that as part of the property, and buyer or the land would then operate that facility. And we were told initially we would have to do reimbursement for the on-site treatment facility that we built. But now we've heard from the SD that's not the case. Does that make sense?
That's good enough.
That makes it more attractive.
Yeah.
It makes it more attractive.
Well, and then they've got the maintenance costs and everything goes with it.
Correct. Correct. Thank you.
Good. Anybody have anything else for Canal Side before Chuck moves to Airport Industrial Park? All right, Chuck.
Okay, two updates on Airport Industrial Park. We have two prospective buyers. Berkshire Hathaway Blake Realty has identified a party interested in our 26 acres at the end of Ferguson Lane, what we're calling Ferguson Lane Extension. They have sent us a series of questions, including trying to understand the new wetland regulations. We are responding. They will probably, they're not in a rush. They are a Washington County-based business looking to expand. So they're diligently working through their questions. More to come, I suspect. Next meeting, we won't have anything definitive because I do think their due diligence will take some time, particularly when it comes to the wetland issues. Secondly, on a different note, as you know, we have also in that area right by Hilltop, we have the 20 acres that's heavily wetland impacted. We also have the 14 acres down Airport Industrial Park, one that is heavily wetland impacted. We have received a letter from Rotary. They are interested in acquiring land, and let me just read a few tidbits of their letter. The letter is from a Mr. Dave Vogue, who is the Assistant Governor of the Central New York Rotary District 7180. He's also the past president of the Glens Falls Rotary. And he writes that he and his team are working on a few visionary open space opportunities to further Rotary's mission on managing the environment, preserving open space, and developing an environmental education center for residents across the region. The letter goes on to say, our vision for a planned project features reforestation, wetlands protection, walking paths, picnic areas, micro gardens, an education center, and accessible spaces, creating a vibrant and inclusive environment for residents and visitors alike. So they have the idea of using that to grow trees and have sort of a bit of a wildlife education center. There's still a long ways to go. We want to know if we're interested about this, and we've arranged a meeting to have our first discussion to sort of begin scoping this out. I think this too will take some time, but it could be a nice utilization of these heavily wetland impacted parcels.
So would that clear up the remaining lots other than the larger parcel that still has commercial use?
Well, now that we just, with Hilltop, these are the only two remaining wetland lots. So if we go through with deal with Rotary, then we will no longer have any other wetland impacted lots.
I'm sorry, they wanted the airport lot 1 as well?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, both the Airport Industrial Park 1, 14 acres, and the 20 acres in Airport Industrial Park 2.
What were the sale prices those set from our?
The 20 acres was $7.6 thousand, and the 14 acres was $2,600. So rounding a total of $10,000.
Can clear any covenants with this and any IDA restrictions with this?
To be determined, and part of it is scoping out what they want to do and then doing that check. This is just the first letter to kick things off. So
And
much
the only
more to-
reason I bring it up is our transfer closure on the 2 remaining lots while we focus on the 1 lot that is still has commercial use. So. Anything, Dan?
and
I
this-
don't-
Sorry, go ahead.
No, backing up on Canal Side and the natural gas, I want to clarify something so down the road it doesn't come as a surprise. That $100,000 is just a preliminary estimate for National Grid to bring the gas to the site. That includes the rail car crossing. The pressure booster, compressor, pumps, whatever, would be at the owner or quote, customer's expense. And I can tell you from experience, could be significant cost. So just want that to be out there.
And basically, it's all at their expense, the way I understood what you said.
Yeah, as a reminder, the prospective buyers told us the amount of money they're looking to invest, and it's hundreds of millions of dollars. So this will be a component of this major investment that they're contemplating.
And they're saying it's about a year to design and construct that house. Really. So, just want to be very clear.
And my only point for those two lots that we've owned since the seventies is that I would want to put on the gas to fast track this to see if there's a chance to get them to get an application signed, because there hasn't been any offers, and I hate to say the seventies are 5 decades ago, but for us old folks, but go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, so part of our meeting will be to give them the deeds, covenants, and then also have them meet with our engineer and start scoping out what they want to do. They have tested the soil and said the soil is ideal for growing certain species of trees. So they've done some due diligence, but there is certainly some due diligence that will need to go on with the town of Kingsbury. That will probably be their next stop after they meet with us.
Once we have trees there again, it won't be a wetland. That's the only reason it became a wetland. That's
Put some weeping willows and it's already.
what I was gonna say.
All right, anything else on the potential rotary purchase?
Well, it's not industry. It's not, this is a total different thing than any use we've ever used it.
Yeah, this is sort of just a community project, really.
And that's where I was, so will it be, I don't mean will the application be different?
Well, it will still require a site plan. It still require any planning board approval. So if they're, their education center, I said to them, are you talking about a building? Are you talking about a trailer? Are you talking about a tent? They don't know yet. I think they're going to try to keep it as simple as possible. So really, they have some brainstorming. They want to know first, so we be receptive to the idea. Traditionally been industrial park, this is utilization of land that can no longer be used for industrial purposes, so something totally different. And so we said, yes, let's meet, let's scope this out. So much more to come on this.
I think it could be very good in
Yeah.
a lot of ways, so.
It
Even
could be
working,
just a covered pavilion kind of thing for education.
well, and it might be something they can work with the college and do different programs,
They cited
tie in industry with ecology,
Yeah, everything from elementary schools to SUNY Adirondack. So again, another win-win.
But I think what you're referring to is maybe be able to get SUNY Adirondack involved with that.
You might get them to work
Educational.
together, and I
Exactly.
didn't know what the application fee was and everything, because for something like this, maybe we don't want to charge them the same way. That was what I.
Don't charge an application fee for the purchase of land. So, and maybe there'd be more consideration for maybe less of the price than it was appraised at, since it's going for community benefit, but that would obviously be a board
Right.
decision, but still we have to scope it out first.
Okay. Sure.
Anything else, Chuck? Anything else, Chuck, on the airport industrial park?
That is it. Thank you.
Great. Sounds good. Anybody have any final thoughts or questions, concerns on either the canal side park or the airport industrial park? All right, ongoing business, exit 19 lodging project update, Chuck.
So as a reminder, we've accepted an application for townhome suites from Marriott at exit 19. The owner or the company looking to build also owns a home 2 next door. They've decided they're going to do some master planning of the 2 sites, and they're talking with the Queensbury Planning Board before they come back to us to advance their application. So there's work being done. It's being done with Queensbury Planning in a sort of an amicable way. So I think that's very positive. Not sure when they're gonna be done. Hopefully, we'll have an application approved by the second half of this year. That's it.
Any questions for Chuck?
Are you expecting big changes to what they already proposed or no idea?
Not big changes. They're tweaking. Because what they have is they have the roads servicing both hotels. So the opportunity to optimize a little bit. And I do believe they're thinking of something to do with the home two, perhaps a modification for home two. So they're talking to Queensbury about all those issues before they want to advance the application on their. So, yeah.
All right, moving on to the computer managed service provider research.
So
Chuck, go ahead.
Ally and I are working together on what we're calling a technology review. We're looking at our system configuration, our cloud backup procedures, and our cybersecurity. We had a former board member who used to help us with this day to day. We're smart enough, Ally and I, to know what we know and know what we don't know. So we are talking with some computer managed service providers to understand the services that they could render to us to get to our systems where they should be and to help us manage them accordingly. We are talking with 3 different companies, more to come. We just wanted to let you know we're going down this path of figuring out what we need to do with our computer system.
Anything for Chuck and Ally on our IT service? All right, social media intern, Chuck.
As you all know, we have our social media intern, Alice Fox. She will be graduating in May. We are now posting for replacement. As a reminder, we got her through Warren County Department. What's Liza's department? Workforce Development. And they footed the bill on the wages for the first year. But this year now we are footing the wages. We're $18. With her, we're at $19 an hour. We are proposing to hire a replacement $18 an hour. And we just wanted to alert you that we're looking to do that replacement. I don't think we need board approval to continue this. No.
Jim.
I would suggest that text me.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Both Liza and Sunyata are on the high schools, although we're honestly looking for more of a college age person. Yeah.
Good. Anything else on our social media intern? Anything else for ongoing business? All right, moving on to new business, the Prospect Schools deed transfer. Karen.
So this Prospect Schools is back in, the early 2000s. The IDA did a bond transaction for this project. And it's one of these where Ally reached out and said, why are we still entitled and why are we still, I said, oh, we probably should have conveyed that back a couple of years ago. So as part of the bond transaction, we took title to 4 properties. And so this is just us conveying it back to them. They are an exempt entity anyway, as far as real property tax purposes go. But so it's for 3 properties on Aviation Road and 1 property on Dixon Road in the town of Queensbury. So the resolution just authorizes the execution of these documents to convey it back to Prospect Schools.
So they satisfied everything, all their agreements?
Yeah, the bonds had been paid off.
They paid out their bond 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And the only thing that we were doing still was just, I was still sending out the special district taxes, which they continued to pay 100%. But 3 years later, it should still be coming through the
Right.
IDN, which is why I asked why aren't they, cutting us out? So we're doing this to just tie things up.
Good. If there's no other questions, read the motion and then we can on with this. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the conveyance of 122, 128, and 133 Aviation Road and 220 Dixon Road in the town of Queensbury, county of Warren, and having the following tax map parcel numbers 295.18-1-75, 295.18-1-77, 29518-2-10 and 302.13-1-3 to United Cerebral Palsy Association of the Tri-Counties Incorporated and authorizing the chair to execute any and all documents necessary to effectuate this resolution.
So moved.
Okay, second, Jim. Brian was first. Roll call vote, Ally?
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Ginny Sullivan,
Yes.
Jim Nolan,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers, John Taplin,
Yes.
Tim Robinson.
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes,
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Carries. All right. Moving on to the approval of the audited financial reports. Tim?
Sure, everybody received a draft audit, of our 12/31/24 financials. I'll just, highlight a few things here. The accountants, reflect that, financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects. The expected financial position of this type of business or of our type of business activities, presented component unit of the agency as of 12/31/24, and the changes in financial positions and cash flows for the years were done in accordance with the accounting principles generally accepted. During the audit, there were a couple notes of concern. They're not overly concerning. We're on top of it. They identified certain deficiencies in our internal controls they considered material weakness for non-compliance. And really what those were there was requires us to accumulate they're required to accumulate all misstatements identified during the audit. And during the audit, there was 8 adjusting journal entries amounting to $747,000. We're correcting them. We're in the process of correcting them. They will be corrected. And so that, in effect, resulted in another finding, the submission of our annual audited financial statement in a timely fashion. So one caused the other. So those were the 2 major issues. There's one other that they highlighted, and that was our accounts receivable. We really should have a formal policy for determining when accounts receivables are considered uncollectible or delinquent. We don't have one at present. We are, Chuck and Ally are developing one, and we'll bring it to the board for consideration. And they give some suggestions on how we factor in whether they're collectible or delinquent or uncollectible. So those were the 2 major issues. They did provide a nice summary that you all received of our audit results beyond the findings that they came up with. They go through the changes in our positions. From operating revenue and expenses, very nicely identified on one of the pages of the presentation that was provided to you. So with that, I would like us to approve the audited financial statements that are in draft form to be moved to final form.
All right. Any questions? Brian? Okay.
Well, were you happy with all the sufficient back and forth that you had
We
there?
did. We had a meeting. We did have a meeting with one of the main principals of the accounting firm that handled our relationship, and they were very helpful. We had that meeting also with Karen for Busy Bee bookkeeping, and the adjustments will be made in this month so that when we present April's numbers next month, they will be accurate going forward. Every month we'll have adjustments that we should not have to, they should not find anything material to adjust at the end of the year. They'll always have 1 or 2 findings, they say.
So you were quite in agreement with what their adjustments were then?
Yeah, it's accounting degree required, and I don't have one, but I do follow what they were saying, and we felt comfortable with. And Karen felt comfortable with Ally to adjust them monthly. We could accomplish that and be reflective of our true financial position going forward this year. Because it did affect the year income.
All right,
But like Juan says, our balance sheet is very strong. We're in a strong cash position. So just leave it at that.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the audited financial reports. Got it. Dan, second, Jim, roll call vote, Ellen, please.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan.
Yes.
Jim Nolan,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers.
Yes.
John Taplin,
Yep.
Tim Robinson.
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes,
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Moving on to approval of the parish report for submission. Ally?
Yes,
Give us a
so
quick-
hopefully you all were able to review the IDA Paris report. This is just the draft. What it basically is showing you all is all the activity that the IDA did for the year of 2024, including bond payments for the year for the IDA bonds, all the project reporting as far as the pilot payments that they made versus what they could have made, the savings that they had for the entire year, their job counts, any procurements that we had, the reporting of the sale of the lots, just every activity was accounted for in the Paris report. And I will take anything that you have questions on or that seems unclear.
One thing I've learned is, Ally, you start this process in October, you said, so it's quite an intense little report. It's a lot of work, so that's off to Ally for all of it.
Oh, one thing I did want to say, the financial statement that you see in that Paris report, those numbers reflect the draft audit report. So since you like the draft audit report, then those numbers will stay. But if there had been any changes, I would have changed them.
Oh, they need to match.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. With no further questions, I will entertain a motion to approve the parish report for submission. Brian, second. Dan, roll call vote, Ally?
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Jenny Sullivan,
Yes.
Jim Nolan,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers.
Yes.
John Taplin,
Yes.
Tim Robinson.
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
yes,
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Passes. Moving towards the approval of the Form ST62 submission, Ally?
Yes, so also in your packets, you guys should have seen the ST62 form that, if it's approved, will be sent to the New York State Taxation and Finance. We do this every year. It's a report that any of the projects that had sales tax exemptions reported what they used for 2024. And this is a verification saying that I checked those numbers. They have not gone over. We don't need to recapture anything for this year. Any questions? And I also included the projects and what they've been reporting so far versus what they were allotted, if you're curious.
Great. Any questions for Ally? All right, then I'll entertain a motion to approve a Form ST62 submission. Dan, second. Brian, roll call vote, Ally, please.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Jeannie Sullivan, Jim Nolan,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers.
Yes.
John Taplin,
Yes.
Tim Robinson.
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. All right, moving on to a new topic, Adirondack radiology. Kara.
So we Adirondack Radiology, as you know, they closed, at the end of, was it end of 2024 now?
That's pretty fun.
Yeah. And so they were delayed. If you recall, they came back and asked for an extension of their agency appointment for sales tax purposes. Their construction was delayed a bit. In fact, they almost just recently got their building permit. Terry Ross from the town of Queensbury reached out to see if we wanted to make a request to delay the exemption timeframe to start for tax roll year 2026. So Adirondack Radiology would be able to take advantage of the actual pilot that you all approved. Otherwise, they would miss the first full year of that. So they just requested that we make a request to do that, if that's what the board chooses to do. I took a look at the pilot agreement. I just thought for clarification, so there's no confusion, 7 years from now, why we're not terminating it or why, why we're not off. That we would just amend the agreement in its entirety and push it out one year. And if the board is approving of that, we have to file it with the town no later than May 1st. So that's why it's a last minute addition.
And I spoke with Ed Hanchett today. They expect the project to go online by June. So there were construction delays, part of the bidding process of construction within Minacchio, but it all worked out and the project is near completion. But now the equipment is being delivered soon and should be up and operational in June.
Any questions? Brian?
Yeah, so is there a need to change it if they're done that quick?
It's a timing issue.
It's a timing
That's why
issue. So the tax roll for the 2025 tax roll is already,
It's already gone by.
yeah. So
Yep, I guess.
Testing. I apology. First time in 20 years that I've done this. I apologize.
All right, Nick, we got you. All right,
Okay.
if there's no other questions, let me read the resolution. I will entertain a motion to accept the resolution to approve the amended and restated pilot agreement for Adirondack Radiology BC to delay the commencement of the exemption until tax roll year 2026 and authorize the chair to execute any necessary documents and file same with the town of Queensberry, assessor by May 1st, 2025. Jim, second. Tim, roll call vote. Ally?
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Vinnie Sullivan. Same. Nick Carmano,
Yes.
Jim Nolan,
Yes.
Trisha Rogers.
Yes.
John Taplin,
Yes.
Tim Robinson.
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Juan Gonzalez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. Moving on, staff report, CEO.
Okay, I know we're dragging on to about an hour now. I'll try to go quick. As back, I'm on report since our last meeting in third week in March. So on March 28th, I met with Greg Connors, who is the president, executive director of the Saratoga Economic Development Corporation, to discuss IDA practices, and particularly the handling of speculative facility construction projects without confirmed tenants. Learned some things that they do that we might be able to do someday if needed. I also learned in Saratoga County, they have 3 IDAs, not just one. They have Saratoga County, they have Clifton Park, and they have one other town. And they also, the administration of their IDA actually happens from county employees. So it's always good to talk to other IDAs just to learn about their practices and share stories and some ideas.
The county pays for their administration.
Well, they don't pay for them, but they do a part-time, they have a service agreement that they pay for.
that's how it's done in Fulton County as well. There's the county planner also serves as the IDA executive director, but the stipend for the executive director is paid through the IDA.
Then on March 31st, Chairman Gonzalez and I had a lunch with prospective board member, and I'll let him talk about that later if applicable. Then on April 3rd, Warren County Housing Task Force, which includes Warren County Planning, Warren County EDC, Glens Falls Economic Development, Community Development, Lake George Planning, Bolton Planning, Queensbury Planning, Glen South Housing Authority, and North Country Rural Development, Horicon Planning, and Warren County Administrator John Taflon was there. Warren County Board of Supervisors Mike Wild, Nate Neetu were there. It was excellent roundtable discussion talking about the housing needs and some actions. And it's still in draft form. IDA role is to help incentivize private investment in housing, including what's happened today with talking about our current applicant from ADK REI. And then there'll be more coming from that task force being done by Warren County Planning. Then on April 8th, Board Member Bruno and I, with consulting engineer Bob Holmes and a consulting wetland expert, Stephen George, we met to discuss wetland regulations, what's applicable to Ferguson Lane extension. Our next action is to have a meeting with DEC to clarify that wetland extension, as a reminder, is 26 acres. Right now, we know 16 acres are developable under the old wetland rules. Under new wetland rules, 12 acres. We're looking to see if we can work with the old wetland rules. There might be a way that it might be okay for us to work with those rules rather than the new rules. More to come on that. Anything to add to that?
No, the new rules increased the buffer from 100 to 100 feet, so we're looking to see if we can put this, if we need to abide by that, or we can use the old, which is.
That would be grandfathered in.
In a sense, yeah.
So it's a significant effect if we have to.
But even worst case scenario, there's still 13 acres there that we could bring somebody in.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
So continuing, on April 10th, I attended the SUNY Adirondack preview of the new Future Works program. This is the pamphlet that came from the program. Be happy to push it along. They'll be supporting manufacturing, specifically semiconductor manufacturing, IT and cybersecurity, HVAC, and energy transitions. And they're actually not only going to introduce the program, but they're also going to renovate a building. So if you think about what SUNY Adirondack did with the nursing program years ago, Healthy Healthcare, SUNY Adirondack now is to be helping specifically with the manufacturing industry. And what we had was a little bit of a preview. This has not been officially blessed by the board yet, but the group was some feedback. So very good meeting. I don't know anything to add to that as a board member of SUNY Adirondack. Okay. Then on April 10th, same day, they had ARC April Mixer, which was very well attended, always a good networking opportunity. And then on the 17th, I was a guest speaker at Glens Falls Rotary Lunch. We talked about the excitement they have there with their project, the Airport Industrial Park. But for this particular luncheon, we talked about the art incentive programs, and they were equally excited. And they're now, and there were some people that were inquired in the audience and remembered a lot of our older projects. And they brought up a lot of different stories, but a very engaged and very good. Most of them, they did mention the trash plan. I'm sorry. But most of the stories are very good. A very engaged group. No worries. Engaged. Finally, with our engagements, we're 19 year to date, 4 manufacturing distribution, 3 tourism and recreation, 2 hotel resort, 1 mixed, 4 housing, 1 energy, and 4 other. And of those 19, I expect 6 could be applicants in 2025, 1 in 2026, 5 are unknown, and 7 will not be applicants. As far as our pipeline list, with current projects possibly coming through our incentive program, with hotel resort industry with 7, manufacturing distribution with 6, housing with 5, tourism recreation with 1, and mixed use of 1. That's a total of 20 as of 4/18. Of the 20, 3 are applications. Now 4 are applications that have been accepted. 3 are working on the application itself. 5 are possible applicants. 8 are still exploring, so that's a total of the 20. And as we know, there's always those that drop off. We have at least 15 potential applicants who decided not to move forward. And then finally, Ally in the distribution package included 4 support letters that we've done for various grant programs that people asked us to provide support with. And with that, I think that's my report, unless there are any questions.
No questions. Well done, Chad.
Thank you.
Administrator, you're up.
Mine will be really quick. I just wanted to let everyone know that all of the projects have paid their town and county and special district taxes. Yeah. That was easy.
It hasn't been in the past. It's pretty good.
No, that was sarcasm.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Nick.
I'm not laughing. I'm 15, 18 years I've been doing this, and this is the first time that is IDA and coming down here First time this has ever happened to me. I apologize from the bottom of my heart, and I'll buy you all a donut next time. But God, please success. Please say we won't kill you.
Oh, you're good. You're good. We had a quorum. If we
Okay.
didn't have a quorum for you, then this will be a different conversation. You're good. We did good. It was
We're gonna
good.
hold you
We-
to the
A
donut.
lot of
Buying
information
steak
and
instead of
and we're-
donuts. That was the case.
a lot of information and we're flowing well. We still have a lot to go. We still have a CDC meeting, so I'm gonna keep this rolling. Does anybody have any questions for Ally? Thank you very much. All right, we appreciate it. We'll move on.
Take care.
Nick, thank you. We'll see you again. All right, we're gonna hold on public comments because we need to go into executive session and we will be coming out of executive session to make a decision. So I will have Kara lead us into that.
The executive session is to discuss personnel issues of IDA staff.
Great. I will entertain a motion to move into executive session. Dan, second. Brian. All in favor?
Bye.
Great. Thank you, sir.